Thanks for the introduction and thanks for the opportunity for having the presentation. As you can imagine that this experience at the border did something with me. The advantage for you is that today you will get a very personal presentation. I won't talk about plant physiology, I won't talk about physics of light, anything, but you get additional information on why are we doing that, what we are doing. This is very important. First question though, before I start, who had breakfast today? Hands up. Who will have lunch? Who will have dinner? How much energy does your bodies need today? Does anyone have an inkling?
2,000.
Are we talking about kilocalories now, hopefully? Yeah. It's plus, if you compare the kilocalories, we are plus minus all the same. Yeah? There will be a difference between 10 and 15%, not more. It's around 3 kilowatt hours. What your body today, your basal metabolic rate, and then now your engagement by listening to me and a little bit of physical activity will be 3 kilowatt hours. Each and every one of you. How much energy do we need to produce the 3 kilocalories for you today? Only today. I don't care where you come from, these are global numbers. So I come up with a rough average. Estimations. How much energy do you need for your kilowatt hours? Say a number. 6. Any other numbers?
What's the measurement?
Kilowatt hours. How much energy do you actually need to produce the 3 kilowatt hours or 2,000 kilocalories for you today?
2 small meals.
We have 6. 6 from Anya.
20.
Huh?
20.
No, I have my pointer. It's 25. So each and every one, you have 2 hand dryers attached to the plug the whole day, which is the same amount of energy what each and every one of us needs in order to get fed with that kilocalories what we actually need. And now I immediately start. I just wanted you to sensitize for that because this is one of the crucial points. All started in my life when I was coming up with the question how to radically increase the food production next to the consumers during my studies, was the idea that we need a new building typology. Obviously, I'm an architect. Yeah? And I got in contact with Professor Dixon Depumier. Perhaps someone knows him. Professor Emeritus, Columbia University. And during the COVID crisis, I wrote an article which is free, accessible on our website. And that was the title, An Isotropic Radiation of Ideas and Proposals. And this is what you get today. This is Dixon. He passed away some months ago, unfortunately, but he supported me from the very beginning. All started out of a crisis. The first time I got in contact with the peak oil production curve. Who has heard about that? Fantastic. This is one of the key challenges. So actually we are totally dependent from fossil energy on a global scale. What is the estimate, and this is the last question to do, and then I will rock it through. What is the percentage of renewable energy globally of the total primary energy supply?
5.
1%.
Well, okay, here we are on a similar level, yes. So based on the energy agency, it's 2.2. Okay, so we are not moving in the right direction. Utopia is no longer an ideal, it's reality's potential to be implemented, tested, and developed. And this is what Valentin, where is Valentin? My colleague and I now experienced at the border. This is the picture what I took from the border. So we have the paradise in front of us. And this is literally what we are actually what we all have in common. We know what to do. We know what the fucking challenges are. And we know about our skills and we know about our limits. The moment when we leave, where is David again? Yeah? The moment when we leave our system borders, then we start struggling. And this This is perhaps that what we all have in common. So it's not about the utopia of that what we are dreaming of, but how can we translate that into reality? That what we actually really have to know. We know what we have to do, and we know what our skills are. But it's not possible because everybody is living in his perfectly defined circle of systems. This is the status quo. This is the agricultural land worldwide. I will go through quickly. Distributed in different climate zones. So every hectare what you actually have seen is more or less productive. This is the amount of soil. This is a recent diagram what we produced. This is the amount of soil what we are losing each and every day. So we are fucking up the rest of the agricultural land what we have. The pressure is increasing, so we actually have to expand the agricultural land in order to feed the 10 billion people. If the UN is right, we will be 10 billion people. This is the total primary energy supply, what I told to you. So 30% is for the food sector, so that we get fed. When I did my PhD, still a dreamer, because I was thinking I can influence something on a higher level, we consumed 500 exajoules every year. Exa, you can forget about it, is a huge number with 18 zeros. And now we are already at 606, so everything is going in the wrong direction. So the dependency of hydrocarbon energy is increasing and not increasing. This is the energy what we were talking about. So if we all together in that room get 81 years old, your bodies need the energy equivalent of that. And in order to produce it, we need these barrels of oil. As everybody knows, a barrel of oil has 159 liters, so that's it. So this is the status quo. And we know there is some sort of climate change. We heard about that, so we have to decrease the CO2 emissions. Everything is going in the wrong direction. We are sitting together each and every year on these climate changes, climate conferences, and coming up with new goals. A goal is fantastic for a politician because you are defining the goals and somebody else can deal with it, how to decrease the CO2 emissions. From each and every year, these lines get steeper and steeper. So this is our future, this is what we have to tackle with. So the longer we are waiting, the bigger the effort is. Again, this is fantastic for all those who are the decision makers today, because every politician, I'm not complaining about it, but this is reality. The politician, what is the success of a politician? If it gets re-elected. Easiest that, you can measure it. If you have a company, the level of measurement of your success is how much profit you make, for instance. Yeah. And this is, I'm very grateful for that picture. I got that from an employee from the Austrian Space Agency. This, while we are talking now, this is what is happening in Africa. Each of these tiny little dots has around a diameter of a city of 10 to 15,000 inhabitants. So these are slash and burn practices to produce additional agricultural land, what we need, which is increasing the need and until 2075. Again, if the UN is right, we need in addition the area of Australia to feed ourselves. Why are we burning down the rainforest? What is the biocapacity of the earth to supply ourselves with food? And if you're taking, unfortunately we can't read that very well because for what reason ever, this is the global surface and the land surface is 159 million square kilometers. A part of it is too cold, too steep for food production. Is too dry, has bad soil conditions, and the rest is suitable for agriculture. So it's 30 million square kilometers. It's twice as much as we are using today. These are the good news. The bad news is all these are on the forest, and this is that what I explained earlier with that picture from the ISS. I just put Italy on it that you get a feeling for scale. We know about the planetary borders. So if we really are rethinking our food system and if we think about how can we produce food closer next to the consumer and perhaps using also unused spaces, then we are addressing most of these planetary boundaries, but recently got up with. And this is also the beautiful thing, most of these global sustainable development goals get addressed if you are thinking about alternatives, additional possibilities to increase food production on already sealed levels. And this is that battle between culture and nature. When we start talking or discussing about it, okay, everybody has a very individual, romantic connection to agriculture. You see that field, wow, nice things, thinking about fields of gold and whatever, yeah, but this is actually destroyed nature. It's green, yes, and we have a funny perception on that. On the left side, it's Vienna. On the right side is Bratislava. This is the Marschfeld. This is also an interesting experience from my side by talking about with politicians, for instance. When I came up, I had my first presentations years ago talking about vertical farming, and then you get the feedback, Mr. Podmirseg, nice idea, but we don't need that. We had the Marschfeld in front of us. But if you're doing your calculations, how many omnivores do we have here? Or other question, how many vegans? No vegans, vegetarians, okay? And the rest, you all, we are omnivores. So we need around 2,300 to 2,500 square meters to feed ourselves with food. So if you're taking all that area and you divide it with that number, you're feeding the smallest district in Vienna, which is the 6th district. So but everybody has this myth or this feeling, fantastic, we have the Marschfeld in front of us. And that especially appeared during the COVID crisis. So everybody had that feeling, we are safe, we have the agricultural land in front of the door. So again, this is what I explained. So 3.5% of the citizens in Vienna could be fed with that huge area. The real, this is very Austria specific, but just to get a feeling, I just give you one number. So every square meter a city is expanding or growing requires 10 square meters of additional agricultural land. So every emerging city or every growing city asks for 10 times the area what actually gets sealed. Alternative, just as a level of, just as a calculation, this is not that what I want to end up with, but sometimes the question comes up, yes, vertical farming, nice idea, but how many vertical farms do we need to feed a city? The result for Vienna would be, to be autarkic, would be 11,000 skyscrapers. In that size, it's 76 meters. You could say, okay, wow, this is a lot. But it's not so much. Yeah, I just want to give you that feeling. Back where you drive me crazy. It's 8% of the building stock. So these are the good news again. So every city, if you just take around plus minus 10% of the building stock, of the building volume, what we actually had, could be enough to feed the entire city with food. Which we even shouldn't think about it, yeah? I'm just thinking about the animals, or husbandries, or I don't want to stack peach trees or olive trees or whatever, but just to get a feeling. So it's not so absurd to think about producing food in the city or next to the city. Just to add a story, because I can stop wherever we want to. In 1989, Cuba had a kind of artificial, you could say, peak oil scenario. Collapse of Soviet Union, they didn't get fossil fuels anymore. The USA, for what reason ever, didn't want to export it to them, yeah, just to be fun. But in 2 or 3 years, it took us at maximum 3.5 years that they totally changed their agricultural system to be independent from fossil fuels or to reduce it by 85 or 90%, if I remember it correctly. Havana, for instance, is producing more than 90% of its food in the city or next to the city. So there are a lot of examples where we actually just could have a short look at and move in that direction. And the interesting or the tricky thing is, I'm not proclaiming everything, but this is important to understand. If we are increasing our food production on already sealed surfaces, so just follow me quickly. So we have 15 million square kilometers worldwide in agricultural use, by not counting the grass for the husbandry. And 1% of that is already sealed surface. So streets, buildings, parking lots, and whatever. Yeah. So, and this is the new measurement what should be considered, because every square meter what you are actually activating in an already built environment has positive consequences to the outside. And the factor is really impressive. By measuring kilowatt hours again, the reduction of CO2, the reduction of destroying biodiversity, species losses, etc., etc. That factor is whatever you're counting for, but it's up to 120, up 140. That means every square meter what you are activating for food production here releases or disburdens the pressure on the rest of the natural land what we have by 140, so 140 square meters. Again, this is what I was talking about. So we as omnivores need a lot of kilograms to cover the basal metabolic rate, and every part of that food items, of course, has consequences to the land use. This is the food balance sheets. Also, I just run through quickly here because I don't want to go into detail now, but it's important to know, so everyone who's actually interested in, we know everything about food production, and the Food and Agriculture Organization has a fantastic database, FAO-Stat, yeah, where you immediately can get all the numbers what you need, kilocalories, square meters, cultivation area for every specific country in the world. Yeah. I did a comparison for these countries and cities where we are involved with this F-Police Horizon 2020 project. I don't go too much into that, but you see the differences between country and country. So which food item requires how much area in a specific city, and then that could be the basis for political decisions. Let's just focus on the production of, I don't know, herbs or whatever. Yeah, for instance, I visited a vertical farm in Jackson, Wyoming. They are importing 98% of their food. Jackson, Wyoming, we have to be honest, it's on 1,900 meters in the Rocky Mountains, so 6 months of the year it's cold, and the rest of this year, the other 6 months, it's winter. So there is nothing is growing there. Yeah. We also started to prepare. I skipped that, but you will, if you want to, we can talk about the Alina, our dissemination sculpture, which is not primarily intended for food production, but it's an enabler to talk with people about vertical or urban food production systems. Yeah? A lot of design decisions, what we could discuss next to it. Yeah? There are also, within this framework of this F-Police project, we also were thinking about the public pavilion, where we bring different thematics of food production or greenery production, not everything entirely edible, to the public. And the last idea also died, yeah, was a 6.6 pavilion for urban food production. Energy, criticism, some of these things you've heard already. I speed up a little bit now. These are vertical farms emerging in China, actually, yeah. And we did a short analysis of these vertical farms. And from an architect, so do we have architects? You? Okay, yeah. Then you will understand immediately how the fuck is it possible that all these buildings look the same if they are all in different climate zones? Why are we doing the same mistakes what we did when we started with the industrial style, where architecture actually became a machine? What is the topic, what is the central topic of architecture, and why did we lose that? It's totally not to understand. I skipped that to complex, I skipped that to complex, I skipped that to complex, skip that to complex. Now it's getting interesting. This is a feasibility study what we did for a huge developer. David? Left. Yeah. That was something what you were talking about too. Yeah, 1.5 years. I loved that work really, but that was also a border experience. Not so heavy than in Drogos now 2 days ago, but you're sitting together with developers. You're sitting together with investors, and you're sitting together with the decision makers for the future city. The whole marketing agency is already working. We are doing the best. We are energy autarkic, energy efficient. What the fuck? The whole list of CSR, it was complete, yeah? Everybody was just dreaming about these buildings, yeah? And then we came up with that section offering additional possibilities. A part of that building was activated for fish production, for mushrooms production, tropical fruit, lettuces, herbs, and insects. So based on the energetic circumstances, so that what actually was available for free, like sunlight. You don't have sunlight in the basement, then of course you will put fish in that, etc., etc. So they got the energy streams and they got the resource streams. I skip that to complex. Sorry. The whole food supply chain actually ended up in a function and space program of that building. Am I still in time?
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah? So, and this is there where I see the potential. So just with a theoretical proposal that you actually are translating the whole global food supply chain, which again is beyond 200 exajoule, and representing it in a function and space program of a building. This is why I'm talking about new building typologies. So everything from seeding to production, washing, packaging, harvesting, cooling, distributing. You can attach the consumption, so gastronomy or just picking up there. If that part is imploding, then you have a powerful effect on a real sustainable city. And in addition, and this is what Saskia Sassen said at our conference when we organized it, with these urban food systems, you're stabilizing the sub-economic urban networks. Because you need a lot of expertise and it enables the potential for new professions or of professions where you actually have to rethink about what am I actually doing. This is just the diagram again, what you see. So this is one of the central criticisms. Vertical farming, so much energy, we don't want to have that. What is vertical farming? When I did my dissertation and I was writing on the energy efficiency of vertical farming, everybody was asking me, what is a vertical farm? And that changed. Now when I'm talking about vertical farming, no one asks me what a vertical farm is anymore. It's like when I say tree, everybody has a different tree in mind. But the main criticism is vertical farming costs too much energy, we even should look at it. Which is not true. Because mushroom, insects, fish production, etc., all consumes less energy than an ordinary office building. If you put your tomatoes in the basement, we are able to bring you the tomatoes in your basement, and they will grow and they will taste fantastically. But then you have to account more than 400 kilowatt hours per square meter for your funny tomatoes. Yeah? If you're taking the wrong decision, then it's an energetic disaster. So also you don't have to read my dissertation because this is the conclusion of my dissertation. It's an energetic disaster if we come up with the wrong decisions. Yeah? 360 pages to come up with that sentence. Fantastic. And 5 years of my lifetime. So, but again, this is what you see. These are the energy streams. I love talking about the primary energy because this is my key reference, that I always have that feeling of where are we in global context. But 80% is covered with renewable energies. Easy as that. So it's possible. This is how it looks like. Here you see the reaction of the facade. Again, I don't want to go too much into detail. This is energy production. This is more, you can play with different transparencies of the building envelope in order to give the product that, for instance, daylight, what they actually need. There is software behind it, okay, when we want to come up with our energy calculations, also developed within the framework of this Horizon 2020 project. Too specific for today. This is the only thing what I want you to emphasize, because this is in direct connection to that what I'm talking about when it comes into energy on one side. Yeah, we have to think about what are the specific requirements of the different plants. If you combine them in a decent way, then you also can activate these resource streams and you are heading into the right direction. Too complex. Urban potential, I skipped that because I talked about that again. So we start with the solitaire and then we think about how is it embedded. So again, by the very end of the day, for me, the vertical farm is nothing else than a structural element of the urban system. The moment when you consider that, then you're also enabling the classic discussions on circular economy. So where is the water coming from? Where is it going then? What are the resource streams, etc. If you do it wisely, and it's not rocket science, it's all tools and knowledge what we currently have. But we have to take the decision now. Upcoming architects, I just tell you, I love teaching. These are some images from Graz University of Technology, so we have to bring that in the universities. So actually, we are talking about residentials, we are talking about office buildings, and this is, let's say, 60% of it. There are myriads of building typologies. For instance, one of my best friends actually specialized on cemeteries, also a fantastic thing, yeah. Also an energy consumer, I didn't know that, yeah, but now I know it, yeah. But the question is, how do we want to live in the future? What do we want to need? And what do we want to eat? And how do we want to produce these things in the future? So the moment when we start paying billions of euros, yeah, to compensate these CO2 emissions, what we still are emitting. Therefore, we have to start with these questions on a very early basis. And I don't care how the buildings will look like at the very end. This is a very horizontal concept, which is mostly dealing with the activation of horizontal surfaces, or if it comes with an iconic skyscraper, I don't care. It's important, the discussion from the very beginning to the very end, and what are the right decisions to move in the right directions. And of course, by the very end, we are comparing all these vertical farms. This is there where our tool then is helpful, and then we see how much energy do they actually need. It's not influencing the grade, but it's important to see. We're also cooperating with Wageningen University that they also start thinking about beyond the greenhouses. And I will conclude with one of my heroes, Roberto Benigni, who once said, "The new is the oldest what exists." And this, of course, is a fantastic enabler to me to talk with politicians, because when you come with a visionary project, they are scared, because we learned they have to be re-elected. But the moment when I'm talking to an Austrian politician, I skip that, I show him that slide, that is from the 60s. It's from Oswald Rudner, no one knows. Yeah, we are setting up the archive of him and make it publicly accessible, because these guys, already more than a half a century ago, developed their first vertical farms. And not just as funny laboratories in the middle of nowhere, but based on the knowledge what we have today, or the status of the archive what we have today, they built 22 vertical farms worldwide. 1964. A vertical farm 41 meters in height. 64, we even didn't know how photosynthesis is working. And these are the real pioneers. Yeah? For what reason ever, they got the money and they just set it up to make a proof of concept. Then they dismantled it. So when we talk about upcycling or recycling, 1964 again, they dismantled it and brought it to Poland. Wow, cool. Yeah? This is, who knows that guy? When he was older, he didn't look so handsome anymore. This is the only hint what I give to you, huh? Gaddafi. Yeah. Gaddafi decided, I want to drink milk. In order to drink milk, you need cows. Cows drink a lot of water, and when you're in the middle of the desert, issue, they set up a plant factory which produced 10 tons of biomass each and every day. And that was at the opening. So what I'm proclaiming, it's too late to be a pessimist. So optimism is a concept what we even shouldn't think of. It won't change anything unless we are leaving our, let's say, not the bubble, but the system border. We have to talk to people who actually don't understand what we mean. This is the only way forward. So we have to accept what we know. We know about the land use, the water issue, and the energy. We know about the world population growth. We know about the urbanization scenarios. These are all, everybody can download these fucking numbers. I don't know what we are talking about. And we have that global food supply chain. We don't have a local one. We don't have a local one. We have a global one. And we already have a lot of stuff what we agreed on. The global sustainability goals. We have our planetary boundaries already. We have a lot of material from the Food and Agriculture Organization when it comes into food security. And we know what to do when it comes into climate mitigation. The easiest way would be we have to reduce CO2 emissions. But then we also have to consider 30% of that what we never talk about, which is the food sector. And we can accept what we have. Yeah, this is exactly that what I meant, to leave these system borders. We have to talk to developers if we have an idea which is well funded. Yeah, we have to activate academia, all the decision makers. They might be local politicians or whatever. And we have a framework of legislation and administration, our experience at the border. Yeah, sometimes that what you want to do doesn't fit in anything, and then you're trapped. For not saying being fucked, yeah? And we can accept what we can. Yeah, we have the right tools. We know how to implement stuff. For instance, it's easy to set up a prototype to visualize that what we are talking about. We can test it, and we can develop. Now I'm here again with utopia. It's no longer an ideal. It's reality's potential to be implemented, tested, and developed. So that is the struggle. It's not the dream or how to reach it, but just to do it now. And these are the potentials. Yeah, we have to think about the right narrative. Yeah, we have to increase our activity. This is my personal opinion. Dissemination, talking to people, discussing it, and hopefully everybody disagrees with that what you are talking about, because in that moment you learn the most. Yeah, we have to think about how to communicate. Sometimes we are failing. Horgosh again 2 days ago. So if we are not talking the same language, and I don't say Serbian, Austrian or whatever, but the language what we learn within our system border. And we have to participate and include people. You were talking about the female discussion, but for instance what Vertical Harvest actually was doing, they activated all physically or mentally disabled people and say, let's set that vertical farm up together, and you are part of the operative team. Yeah. And when I visited them, and I follow that scenario now for years, now I'm getting my goosebumps again, okay, it is fantastic what you experience there. Yeah? So that building became a hotspot, a public hotspot, and here I'm talking about the United States. Yeah? So this is one of the most important buildings in Jackson, Wyoming. Just because of thinking about, okay, we are doing the right things, we have to increase the food production, and who do we need in actually to make it successful on a social level. And to conclude with, I was born in 1976. I already feel and may have that experience with climate change. I live in Vienna, so I'm happy with it, yeah, because we had 2 or 3 months of fog at the very beginning, minus 15, minus 16 degrees. This doesn't happen anymore. But if we are talking about children or if we are talking about younger people, they will experience a completely different world. And this is fact. And we are moving in that direction. And therefore I say it's too late to be a pessimist, because I don't see that massive collective wake up in order to decrease these careful 4 degrees. Thank you very much.